Don't worry. I understand.
Okay. Yeah, so I just have a couple questions,
Hmm.
kind of regarding tutor works, but also just students with disabilities in general.
Yeah.
Um, Especially like when they're you know, represented in the media and whether it's fair or in what way they're represented.
Hmm.
So the first question I have for you is how do you feel
Yeah.
individuals with disabilities are currently represented in the media, whether it be on television, social media?
I think a lot of the time, the way major news media and just general social media tends to do like a whole inspiration, like porn type of thing, where they're just like profiting off of inspirational stories about people with disabilities. So I think a lot of the time, people with disabilities are more treated as objects rather than real people in the media. So I think that's probably my biggest point would be the idea that every single story about a person with a disability is an inspiration to someone. And a lot of the time, it's like inspiration for people without disabilities. So
Mhm.
I
Yes.
think that's the unfortunate truth.
Yeah, I agree. Can you think of any examples of positive or negative portrayals of people with disabilities in the media?
Some examples. I
If
mean,
not,
I would just say like the whole idea, like come run with like people with disabilities or like come uplift some. It's just
yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time it caters towards people feeling better about themselves by engaging with people with disabilities. It's not actually about the people with disabilities themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
oh no, you're fine. I mean, specific examples, can you guys think of specific examples of how
Inspiration porn?
of yeah, just like positive or negative of how people are treated in the media?
Yeah, I always think of this. Could you hear me?
Yeah, here. I'm gonna unplug you. I have
Okay.
want to say a few things.
Inspiration porn story. Sweet.
Not off the top. I remember on Facebook there was a time it was like a search sign. That's what annoyed me more, I think, than anything. It said like, remember that special kids are here to remind us of God's blessings, or like to remind us that how good we have it.
Hmm.
And that's like a really common theme of that their only purpose is to remember life could be worse,
Yeah.
or well, at least you can walk, you could be
Hmm.
in a wheelchair, or remember to always be joyful, especially with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Man, our students with Down syndrome, sometimes they are assholes,
Hmm.
but that's part of their humanity. So I get very annoyed when the population is painted over as always happy, always joyful,
Yeah.
at least in that kind of niche, because that's infantilizing.
Hmm.
Whereas, almost the opposite, people with autism, yes, they can be very sharp. And I say this as an autistic person, we can be very sharp and direct,
Hmm.
but we're also very funny.
Hmm.
So I think the point is that the representation is often very monotone, kind of one note
Yeah,
of, these people are like this. And you can't do
exactly.
that with any axis of difference, whether it's, sexuality, gender, anything. Every human is complicated. Every human has a variety of identities that make up their whole person. And so I see a lot of representation in the media that's just one or the other. Um, but more so, we see, at least, in the last couple of decades, we've seen this shift, the swing towards kind of the overly sickly sweet representation,
Hmm.
especially, with disabilities that are more physically prominent.
Yeah.
So Down syndrome or, a mobility impairment, like a student in a wheelchair, as just really inspirational and feel good. Like if you give to this program, you help give the opportunity to.
Yeah.
It's always a power dynamic. It's always a giving. The non-disabled person can grant something to the disabled
Hmm.
person, or can allow them the chance to, just that word, the chance to. It's very feel good and sickly sweet, and that really annoys me.
My pet peeve is when people with disabilities are used as mascots. So the trendy thing is like all these coffee shops that exclusively
Yeah.
hire people with
Yes.
disabilities and then like literally use them as mascots for their program.
Yeah, I've
That
noticed
drives
that.
me nuts.
Hmm.
Like, you should go there to a coffee shop, a store, or whatever because you like the product,
Yeah.
not because you just want to support the cause.
Mhm.
And
Even
also, some
though
of those places don't treat people with disabilities very well, so it gets very complicated.
we're kind of dancing around it here, but you're always kind of measuring, does the end justify the means or the outcome? If
Yeah.
it does help these people, these students earn a wage and learn transferable skills, sure, that's a good thing, but you're also having to weigh the cost of that in the social sphere, and that is perpetuating the ideology that they can only work at places that are set up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of IPSE programs, so Student Works IPSE program, inclusive post-secondary education, they only place their students in environments that they've kind of vetted and modified to be for the program. We do that to an extent. The classroom that we enroll a student in, they are notified. We talk to an employer first, but the idea is that any place can be made inclusive, right? We don't have like a very short catalog of, we can only be in these places, right? The whole point is to equip these students with the skills they need, yes, to thrive in the world, but also at the same time, we're trying to change that same world. We shouldn't have to go and train everyone to be, aware of autism or yada, yada, yada. That's a slow burn, of course, but the media representation piece, I think, factors in because when we're always trying to perpetuate the idea that these people can only work in this kind of job or can only thrive in this kind of environment, that doesn't change the environment. All the environments should be ready and accessible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. As you can tell, we are passionate about this
Yeah.
topic.
And I love that. That's awesome. Okay, next question.
Okay, sorry.
How do you think that media impact public perception of people with disabilities?
I think a lot of the media portrayal can just go into how we treat people with disabilities on an everyday setting,
They're
like
infantilized.
yeah,
It's amazing.
infantilization.
People treat them like children.
Because if it's the whole idea of these people being an object of inspiration, the whole inspiration pieces, then people aren't going to actually view them as people with feelings and emotions. And sometimes people with disabilities aren't always an extraordinary or doing everything out of the world. It's just sometimes people with disabilities are just existing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, this is my last question. Do
Okay.
you think that these media portrayals affect how people with disabilities are treated in everyday life? I think you kind of already answered that. If you do think that's true, then what do you think the media should change?
I kind of looked this up and I was kind of looking at some things. I think a good quote to kind of get in this idea is nothing about us without us. So
Okay, I saw that
having
quote the
people,
other day.
yeah, having people with disabilities in the media and in news representations where it's actually stories being told by people with disabilities with perspectives from actual people with disabilities, I think that can really help with making a better narrative.
And also doing normal things that
Yeah.
any person does.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed a lot like in Target, although I've kind of got beef with Target right now, their DEI rollback, but they'll just have like, a picture because they have like, I'm in the toddler section a lot because I have kids and like they'll have on one poster just non-disabled kid modeling a shirt. The next one is, oh, that's kid with Down syndrome modeling a shirt. It's not emphasizing anything. It's not Disability Awareness Day or anything out of the ordinary. It's just in the lineup with all the other models doing normal things.
Yeah.
So seeing people from a variety of, I don't know, just a human variety doing things that aren't, like you're saying, aren't extraordinary, because that then people start to internalize that subconsciously. Oh, yeah, they want to shop at Target too. They want to buy cute clothes.
Yeah.
They don't have, not making it extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all the set questions I had. Is there anything else y'all want to add to that?
I mean, I think the whole thing behind this idea is it's not inspirational because I mean, it's just some people's lives. I mean, it's the relying on the idea that it's inspirational and these people with
Yeah.
disabilities, whatever they do is inspirational, goes into the idea of a disability being a bad thing. And it isn't a bad thing.
Hmm.
And so I think helping rewrite how we, tell stories about people with disabilities in the media, making it a more normalized thing, making it more frequent in the media where it's not just about inspiration, I think it can really help.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Well,
Hmm.
thank you. That's all I have for you.
Yeah.
But thanks for carving out the time to talk with me.
Yeah. So what is it exactly that you're doing? Are you writing a paper or?
It's for so I'm a journalism major and I'm in a
Hmm.
broadcast class. And right now we're kind of like viewing like television news and
Yeah.
social media and everything. And we're picking
Hmm.
like a specific group of people, whether it's by race. But I
Hmm.
wanted to do those with disabilities because I didn't know a lot about that. I
Yeah.
rarely ever see them represented in the media. And if they are,
Hmm.
like you were saying, I feel like it's just a big inspiration story.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like that should be different too. I don't think it should be all about like,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
an inspirational story. But yeah, we kind of just choose a group and just see how they're represented in the media. And
Yeah.
if they're represented in a way that's biased or unfair, or
Hmm.
maybe they are treated fairly. But we're kind of just like doing some research on that. But it's been really cool to get to see.
Well, that's super interesting. I hope that we
Yeah.
kind of gave you some stuff that will help out.
Yes, you totally did.
Okay, good. Well, is there anything else you needed to ask or wanted to add?
I don't think so. I think y'all hit it on the head perfectly.
I know we went on our tangents. We know.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Follow up if you need anything extra.
Sweet. Thank you all so
Okay.
much. Have a
Yeah, of
good day.
course. Good luck.
Thank you.